Jacksonville Inside Out. Our guest today is Nick DeCastro.
Hi,
He
all.
is an actor and a writer. And so, Nick, how long have you lived here in Jacksonville?
I arrived in Jacksonville in 1998. Uh, Aside being the actor and writer, I'm also an IT guy. And they brought me in because they needed me for Y2K.
Mm-hmm.
So my journey came from Chicago, Illinois, to Tallahassee, to Jacksonville, Florida.
So, what got you into acting?
Oh my goodness, I was a typical introvert. When I was in college, my degree is in arts and pre-legal, but then I needed to be able to open up to people, specifically the fairer sex. I didn't know how to talk to women, and I'm painfully heterosexual. So I had to find a venue in which I would be no longer be that wallflower and be somebody who could project and interact and socialize. And acting opened up all those venues.
Out of all the roles you've played so far, what would you say your favorite role was?
I would have to say being Charles the Wrestler
Mm-hmm.
because we did a lot of stunt. I've done quite a bit of stunt work in the past. I'm a little old to be jumping off buildings and stuff like that, but we did a lot of wrestling. And one memorable scene, I'm picking up actor Robbie Robertson, and I'm supposed to toss him actually in such fashion that it lands gently, but to look like I'm beating the crap out of him. And I lift him, but take the mics off, and I lift him on my shoulders, and tell quietly to Robbie, hey, how about I just jam your skull on the floor and see how the play goes from this point on? And Robbie looked at me completely terrified, and I said, I'm just kidding.
That'd be fun.
Yes, that's one of my favorites. Also did Midsummer Night's Dream. I was Phyllis Street, the Merchant of Mirth. I worked with Scott Smith, who
Mm-hmm.
was a dear friend. And because I was already in my 40s doing it, I called myself Prostate, the Merchant of Pain. But that was an inside joke. So.
Gotcha. All right. So, what got you into writing exactly?
I've been writing for a very long time, and I actually, honestly, I don't consider myself a true writer because my major isn't in that. All my education was in Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
so I highly depended upon, and you can tell by Charlie, on having people that do syntax and grammar checks for me. Although I do put my best foot forward, I'm more of a storyteller, sort of like Mark Twain, or
Well, that's what any writer is.
right, fundamentally. I mean, not that I could clean Mark Twain's shoes, but I got into it because I have a stirring imagination, so much so that often I suffer from insomnia. So if I don't, take sleepies, my mind just doesn't shut down. So I have thousands and thousands of stories that go in my head, and sometimes I'm in it, sometimes I'm not in it,
Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing.
So, with the Spanish as the first language, writing in English, you find yourself writing a little bit like Yoda at times.
Sometimes it's more certain. The English language is a very funny language.
Mm-hmm.
It's I always find Spanish to be more colorful and beautiful. I always find English to be more economical and to the point. But I have problems like where to use where and what other where, and so on. There's so many of those that I run into that I can't mention them now. But usually it's my where.
Right. How long have you been working with the Jacksonville film community, or have you worked at all with anybody here?
Yeah, I've worked extensively with Kent Lindsay.
Mm-hmm.
We've done several things. He's prosecuted me a couple of times as a drug dealer
Mm-hmm.
because apparently that's the kind of role I land. I'm either a cop or a drug dealer. Explain that to me. I have no idea why. But yeah, and I've also worked with Andrea Jones, Central Florida Talent in Orlando, First Coast Talent here with Andrea. Sorry, Andrea. And she's booked me in several things.
Mm-hmm.
Usually America's Most Wanted. I was the getaway driver for a rapist. Yeah, and yeah, I told my sister next time I'll be the rapist.
There you go.
A
Yeah.
little bit more pay. But anyway, so I do quite a bit of It's on and off. Like the last thing I did here was Credit Karma Town Hall, and no deep introspection or it's just. So what do we do now? Like crap.
Yeah.
But hey, sometimes it pays the bills. Most of the time it doesn't.
Is there anyone you haven't worked with that you'd like to that's here in Jacksonville?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm actually getting to work with Charles Bayer, which Charlie and I have been friends for a while, and I always wanted to do something with him, and now we're on our way of doing something in you. And then, but I always like working with Scott Smith. I like working with Kent Lindsay. I love working with Pepper Lindsay, his wife. I love working with Mark Cole. Mark Cole usually has been the director of photography in a couple of projects. We did America's Most Wanted Top Gun, and I was Detective James Sanchez, and I had to jump out of the car and say, "Freeze, don't move," and bam, bam, bam. I love that.
Another police officer role.
Yeah, another police officer as well. It's fun to do that sort of thing. I have a disposition toward comedy, but it's only for the heavy set guys or heavy guys, and that's fine. That's fine. Anything that pays the bills and makes it fun.
Oh, I do have a script that calls for a Puerto Rican police officer, so I'll
Dude, I'm there.
yeah, I'll let you know whenever we get around to doing that one. Now, you mentioned working with Charles Bayer and I'm guessing Flying Pygmy Productions.
Yes.
Which is mine and Charles's company, actually.
Yes.
Tell us about your current project.
Well, currently we're in the process of trying to produce a television situation comedy called I Still Don't Get It. Can't go into any real level of details because you don't really want to give it away.
Right.
But we have all the assets required to produce it. Actually, as a writer, I didn't put myself in it because our demographic is, mid-20s.
You're in the demo, or at least you're going
Yeah,
to be
well,
in the demo.
I just sort of had to jump in for Paco because our actor who was going to do Paco was not available, and I said, oh, well, what the heck. But I'm not that self-serving. Sometimes I am, but sometimes I'm not. Most of the time I'm not. And, I'm older now, so that demographic of 20 to 40s, I'm not there anymore, although I do look stunning, but, So and we have an awesome demo. We're trying to locate executive producers and funding. I think it has the potential to go on for many years if we get it off the ground. And we have so much talent here that we're second to none in the United States, and I dare say the world, for the people that we have auditioned for that role. And you know how picky I am.
Yes.
We were sitting there, and at one point we had somebody audition. I don't toss names. You don't do that. And, we just couldn't cut. And I said, no, we can't work with this one. She just didn't get the feel of the character. And
Right.
we brought somebody else. So we're very excited about that. The demo looks astounding. I wish I could show it to everybody, but because of non-disclosure agreements,
Right.
it's, you know how it is.
Well, I'm involved in the project, so I can say that we have a good cast on that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So over the next 10 years or so, where would you like to see the Jacksonville film community?
I want them to shine. We have the talent, we have the ability, we have the equipment. We have Applebox, who has equipment left and right, and most of the time Andy from Applebox, hi Andy, he's actually outside of Florida working. I'd like to have him more involved here working all the time because we need to give him more work.
Right.
Not because he's not this. I'd like to see also Mark Cole, which he works all around the world, but I like to harness that talent that he has, that ability to frame things, ability to pull things. Working here in one of our bigger projects, and have manuscripts about massive stories that involve science fiction, action, adventures, and horror. But those are really big budgets.